Alright, geometry, we're right back in it. I'm going to show you some of the answers here for section 11.4, review for mastery. This is really unit 9, part 3 of 6, and we're doing part 3B, you could say, because now we're doing the review for mastery. Okay, so there's some notes here. We've kind of already talked about these notes. Let's jump right into using them. Okay, so LMP and ArcMN. So first let's talk about LMP. And let's do some color coding here just so we have some decent understanding of what we're doing. LMP is this angle, which is going to be half the arc because the arc is bigger. So if that's 36, that means this angle is 18. So LMP is 18 degrees. And then MN, okay, so that's this other arc connecting to the angle 48 degrees. And the arc is bigger, so it's going to be double that. So we're going to do 2 times 48, which will give us 2 times 40 is 80 plus 16. That's 96 degrees. So this is 96 degrees. Too easy, too easy. Alright, let's jump to this next one. GFJ. So GFJ is this angle, which corresponds to this arc. And if the arc is 110, then the angle is going to be half that. So 110 divided by 2 is going to be 55. So that's 55 for that angle. The next one that they're asking us about, let's do it here in brown, is the HF arc, or FH, I guess they put it the other way, but it's the same thing. The angle is 36 degrees, so the arc's going to be double that, which is 72 degrees. Cool, so it was 72 degrees, and GFJ was 55 degrees. We got all the answers there. All right, let's see what else is going on with this. Similar thing, remember that when we do a half circle from R all the way to S, that's 180 degrees, which means that this is going to be a right angle. So 5x plus 8 is a right angle, which is 90 degrees. So that's 90 degrees. I subtract 8. And I get 5x equals 82. Is that right? Yeah, it is. So this isn't going to be exact per se. We divide each one by 5. We're going to get x equals, I don't know, what would that be? 5 goes into that 10 times, 16 times, and 2/5, 16.4, you could say. Alright, FJH. FJH. So what are we trying to figure out there? FJH is this angle here. Oh, this is that other thing there. Because look at this angle and this angle together. They both connect to this arc because it connects to that arc and it connects, or to that angle and to that angle. So they both have the same arc. Therefore, they both have to have the same half measure. That means they're equal. So 5z equals 4z plus 9. We do a little bit of subtraction here. Z equals 9. But this is really 5z. So 5 times 9 is 45 degrees. Alright, let's keep going. We got another page coming up here with notes. Now this one is talking about inscribed angles. That means angles inside. The big idea here was opposite angles were supplementary. They add up to 180. So let's use that. Okay, RSTV. So what do we have? It looks like this one here, angle R and angle T, are opposite each other. So those two are going to add up to 180. So 7y plus 11y equals 180. Well, easy enough. This gives me 18y equals 180, which means if I divide this by 18, then I'll get y equals 10. Okay, so that means this right here is 110, and this is 70. Now for this one, 8y plus 8, that's 8 times 10 plus 8, or 88. And that means v is going to be supplementary to s. So v is going to be 180 minus 88, or 92 degrees. Alright, let's go to the next one. Notice that the thing I was looking for at first is the two angles that were across from each other. Because if I try to do something with B, well, D I don't know anything about. But then if I look at A and C, I have some information about those. I have a couple of expressions, which means I can add those up to 180 and then start doing some algebra. Okay, so I'm going to do 10x plus 4x plus 12 equals 180. Let's do some simplifying. That gives me 14x plus 12 equals 180. So I got to subtract 12 from each side. That'll give me 14x equals 168. Is that right? Yeah, it is. And if I divide each of those by 14, I'll get x equals 12. Okay, so x equals 12. Now let's see what that would do if we plugged it back in. So 10 times 12 here would be 120. Well, that's easy enough, because then I could just subtract from 180, and this one over here would be 60. Okay, now let's look at the other ones. Angle B would be 6 times 10. 6 times 10 plus 3, so that's 63. And then down here, angle D would be 180 minus 63, because they have to add up to 180, so I can subtract to go backwards. And that'll give me 117 degrees. Excellent. This is almost too easy for us. I think these are the last two and we'll be done. Yep, so let's finish with these. Again, let's look for the ones that are opposite each other. I see J and L are opposite each other, so those two are going to add up to 180. So 2z plus 2 plus z minus 17 equals 180. Right, so 2 and 17 are going to combine to make negative 15. 2z and z combine to make 3z. Altogether they make 180. I'm going to add 15 to each side. That gives me 3z equals 195. Z is going to be pretty big here. Looks like z is going to go into 19 6 times, and then 15 5 times. 65 times total, so z equals 65. Well, let's start easy. Z minus 17. Okay, that's going to be 50 minus 2, 48. And then over here, 2z plus 2. So 2 times 65 is 130, plus 2 is 132. So those add up to 180, that's good. Then z plus 25. So for angle K, we got to add 25 to that, that's 90. And here's the really cool thing. That means M is also 90, because that's an easy addition to 180. 90 plus 90 is 180. Sweet. All right. Here we go. Now I'm going to start with P and M. Why do you think? Well, because they're opposite each other, and that gives me a pair that I can add up to 180. So that means 4x plus 5 plus 3x plus 7 equals 180. So I'm going to add the 4x and the 3x. Gives me 7x. Then the 7 and the 5 together are going to make 12. Alright, let's see how that works for me. If I subtract 12 from each side, I get 7x equals 168. Well, how many times does 7 go into 168? I bet it's a lot. Let's do some long division here. 7 goes into 168 twice. Gives me, or 16 I should say, and then into 28 4 times. So 24 times. X equals 24. Alright, so what do I do with that? Well, I got to plug it back into each of these. So let's do this top one. 4 times 24 is going to be 96, and then I add 5 to that, that's 101. That means this one down here has to add up to 180, so I can just say that's 79. I don't even have to plug it in. I could, but I don't have to. 4 times 24 minus 10, that's 96 minus 10 is 86, which means this Q has to add up to 180, so that's going to be 94. Now I'm doing a lot of mental math there, but here's what you're really looking for. You know, once you solve the equation, plug it in, the two numbers still have to add up to 180. So that's how I'm checking each step of the way. Alright, so that's a review for mastery into part 3, as you will see right here, into part 3. And I will see you in part 4. Now it's going to get serious. We're going to get into the real stuff for parts 4 and 5.